Thanks for watching Mid-Morning this Friday. A new survey shows more people in Minnesota and Wisconsin want to see stories on climate change.
Yale University and George Mason universities have been tracking Americans' attitudes on climate change, and they've been doing this for more than a decade now. And Mike has really been digging into it because, Mike, I think to me the greatest takeaway is the hunger for information on this topic, where people really want to learn in a broad way as well.
So this survey was taken over the course of this past summer. It was 5,700 respondents over the entire U.S. And George Mason and Yale have been studying these attitudes for over the past decade. And now they have figured out a way to take these national averages and apply a model to them to find out how opinions vary within states and even within counties or congressional districts. So the national average number of people that want to hear more stories about climate change is 74%, which is higher, I think, than most people would think. And here in Minnesota, we're about at average. As a state, 75% of us want to hear more stories about climate change. But what I thought was interesting here is, given this is a congressional election year, the first congressional district, which tends to lean Republican in some cases, that is the one congressional district, along with the one here in the Twin Cities, that wants to hear the most about climate change. Average number of people who want to hear more stories there is higher than the statewide average in general.
Right.
Kind of interesting when we are also used to hearing that this is politicized.
So this is interesting, Mike, because I was just talking with a farmer earlier this week, and within, I would say, the first 5 minutes of the conversation, unsolicited, he brought up climate change. So I think for a lot of the farmers here in Minnesota, this is a very, very important issue because they have seen the impact in their livelihood.
So maybe not all farmers are willing to say or believe that this is caused by human activities. Obviously, we know farmers are very in tune with the way the climate changes and have been doing that for hundreds of years. But the interesting piece of this is that just here, even here in the Twin Cities, in the Bell Museum and Planetarium that's on the University of Minnesota campus, they have an example or an explanation as to how we know that CO2 levels haven't been as high in the atmosphere here as they have been in the past 800,000 years. And that's an exhibit that they use to explain it to third graders. So while we might be kind of using our personal experience to determine whether or not we believe that it's completely human activity that's causing it, we have very, very basic and very, very strong evidence that it is in fact human activities. To get back to that political bent and how that comes into this, when you look at Republicans, or at least people who self-identify as Republicans versus people who self-identify as Democrats and who are likely voters coming up in this election, we do see a pretty big divide there when you ask, is it human activities that's causing climate change? But what I also found interesting in this study was that when you change the question to, should we as a country be investing more in renewable energy sources, the difference between Republican views and Democrat views shrink to almost nothing. The vast majority of people think that we should be putting money into that. And I think that sort of speaks to what each voting bloc kind of values, and we all seem to value the same thing, being good stewards of the earth.
Yeah. Interesting. Very good. All right. Thanks, Mike.